Hey y'all, before this video begins, I wanted to thank you all for the support recently. It's surreal knowing that people are interested in what I create. Every like and comment really helps me both in my growth on this platform and my mental status, so if it isn't too much of a bother, do be sure to subscribe and share my stuff around if you please. And now that I'm done with my vacation, I'm proud to announce I'll be continuing live streams over on Twitch, of which I'd stopped doing to focus a bit more on content creation for YouTube. So if you have any interest, the link will be in the description alongside my Twitter. Okay, enough shameful advertising. Let's get on to the video. So a while back I decided to take a look at the story random encounters created based on FNAF, a story of which is vastly different from the core story created by Scott Cawthon. In this video, I want to bring to light some of the key differences between canon and fanon universes. Do note that this video is being recorded prior to the release of Dark Remains. As such, some information may be outdated. This video will not be discussing events within the series we have yet to see, like the Bite of 83 or Fazbear's Fright. It will only contain stuff seen within the main Random Encounters series that may differ from the original games. Now, this video will be split up into two categories: characters and timeline. Characters will be going over those who may have changed within their story or a different character entirely. Timeline will go over any events within the story that have had major changes. Do be sure to watch my breakdown video of the story if you want more context and to check out the original musicals by Random Encounters. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, we will go over a few key characters who seem to be missing. First is Henry Emily, business partner and co-founder of Fredbear's Family Diner. Though we've seen the other founder plenty of times, Henry seems to be missing entirely. Within the same family is also Charlie, daughter to Henry and child who would go on to possess the puppet. Charlie would try to save the victims of William Afton, while Henry would try to end everything once and for all by the end of Pizzeria Simulator. On the topic of possession, we have all of those who would go on to take the bodies of the respective animatronics. Gabriel and Freddy, Jeremy and Bonnie, and our main catalyst Cassidy, for example, all don't seem to exist. It's assumed the characters of the Random Encounters lore just tend to exist, giving no hint at them having any other souls living within them. And speaking of animatronics, the Funtime gang seem to be missing as well. Circus Baby has been revealed and is set to return, though members like Funtime Foxy, Funtime Freddy, and Ballora have yet to appear, alongside their later incarnation of Ennard. These members would go on to take Mike's body in order to escape, but with him well dead before the Funtimes were even to be introduced, it's uncertain what their role may be if they're ever included. This brings us on to what I like to call separated characters. These are characters who are their own person within the RE lore, but are actually just one in the true story. William Afton is the co-founder of Fredbear's and perpetrator of the missing children's incident. He would go on to be spring-locked into the original spring-loaded Bonnie suit and eventually become Springtrap. He would go on to be portrayed by 3 different characters within the RE series. First would be his human form, dubbed Mr. Afton, played by MatPat of the channel Game Theory. Second would be played by AJ Pinkerton, self-proclaimed as Purple Guy. Finally would be Springtrap himself, of whom William should be inhabiting. As a bonus, Afton takes up the role of Phone Guy in this universe, where there are different characters in the main timeline. Yes, there's Glitchtrap too, but we don't count him. Speaking of Purple Guy, he would be featured within the sister location video, though it would be a different Purple Guy in the main story. Mike would actually be in this place as the Funtime Catalyst, but was killed off early in the RE lore. Now, while we're talking about the Aftons, their family dynamic would also be changed. The family consists of William Afton as the father, an unnamed mother figure, and 3 children, Michael, Elizabeth, and a 3rd child the fandom dubbed Crying Child. However, in the RE lore, William is the uncle of Michael and Elizabeth. Crying Child is nowhere to be seen and no wife is mentioned, nor any siblings to William. When Random Encounters started their FNAF musicals, only the first 3 games would have been released, leaving them with a very brief story to work with. Though this wouldn't deter creativity, as a whole new backstory was set up in what I like to call the Fazbear Saga. As games continued to come out, what would be released is what I call the Bite Saga. This era would detail everything that happened before the craziness at Freddy Fazbear's. However, this story is completely swapped from where the original story went. Later videos would be based around Pizzeria Simulator, Help Wanted, and Security Breach, all of which take place far after all the other FNAF games. In the Random Encounter story, Security Breach was briefly used to be the very beginning of the story as opposed to the most current event. If they are to create a next chapter that continues where the Fazbear Saga left off, it is unsure if they'll wait for another game, rehash a few things they used before and bring it into the future, or just create something brand new. Although a Funtime Saga does sound rather enticing. Random Encounters is the perfect example of taking a story and rolling with it. They made something brand new with stuff that was already established, and it stands out on its own narrative. The franchise can stand up on its own even if the viewer does not know anything about FNAF or any of its story. Now, even though this small series is complete, you better believe I'm not done with FNAF anytime soon. At Random Encounters, I still have my eye on a few things with you. With that being said, if there are any other FNAF-based stories or other deep lore-based series you want me to do a deep dive on, leave suggestions in the comments. I'm always taking suggestions on stories to learn about. With that, I'm off. Thanks for listening to my mad ramblings.